In this video, I will be showing you how to make a CNS garment, popularly called Aso Adura in the western part of Nigeria. After the release of my video on how to make a cherubim and seraphim cap, I got a lot of messages requesting for the tutorial on how to make the garment itself. And in case you haven't seen that video, I will leave the link in the description area below. You might want to check it out after now. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time of watching my video, this is Regi School of Fashion. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for regular notifications so that you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. And guys, I know I've said this over and over on this platform, that one of the ways you guys can encourage me in creating more valuable content is by watching ads on my videos. Please don't skip those ads, because that is the only way I get rewarded here on YouTube. Having said this, let's get started. The following measurements are required in making a CNS garment: the neck circumference measurement, the armhole circumference, the back measurement, that is shoulder point to shoulder point, the bust level, the empire level, the waist circumference, the bust circumference, the garment length, the sleeve length, and the wrist circumference measurement. So these are the measurements I will be using in drafting pattern for a CNS garment. A CNS garment is guided with little or no rules when it comes to choosing your preferred fabrics, styles, and looks. But some of the constant factors you must pay attention to are: number 1, it must be an high neck with bishop collar for both male and female compared to celestial garments. Number 2, in most times, it is usually a straight cut from shoulder to the hemline, like a male celestial garment. And number 3, a female CNS garment usually has a zipper at the center back, while some people place their zipper or buttons at the center front. But for the sake of this tutorial, I will be making a female CNS garment using this picture as a reference image. Here I have my pattern paper and I have my vertical lines drawn out on my pattern paper. So I have enough wideness for my pattern and I have enough length for the pattern. So the length of the pattern paper I have here is measurement taken from shoulder to waist, then waist to the garment length. So in total I have the length of the garment. So that is the length of the paper I have here. So now I have my starting point line drawn out, which is here. So which means all vertical measurements I took started on this line. So this is my starting point. I have the chest level line. So chest level is half of the armhole circumference measurement. So I added half of an inch as his. Armhole is 16 inches. Then divided by 2, I have 8. Then I added half of an inch as his because it is a garment. Okay. Then from the starting point also, I took the measurement for the bust point, which is 10 inches. The empire level, 13.5. Empire level is the same thing as under the bust measurement. Then for the waist, this is natural waist level, I have 17 inches. So after the waist measurements, then I took the garment length, which is taken from the waist downward to the garment length. So there I have 39.5 inches. Okay, so when you are making a CNS garment, the first thing you need to do is to take accurate body measurements. If you don't get the taking of the measurements right, you cannot get the garment itself right. That is why I'm encouraging you to watch my video on how to take accurate body measurements for a female figure. The video has been linked up in the description area, so you can check it out after now. So based on the style of the CNS garment you are making, as you can see properly, we have pleats on both sides of the center front. As you can see, we have pleats at the right hand side and we have pleats at the left hand side. And for each side, we have 2 pleats. So for the size of each pleat, I will be using 2 inches. It depends on how wide you want your pleat to be. So you can use 2 to 3 inches, but for the sake of this tutorial I will be using 2 inches. Okay, so that is the first thing I'll be doing. Then from the center front, this side is the center front, so which means this pattern is for the front panel. So here I have the center front. So I want the dart to start on the bust pan measurement. Okay, bust pan measurement is the measurement taken from one nipple to another. So if you watch my video on how to take body measurement for a female figure, you will understand how to take this measurement accurately. Okay, so here is the center front, so this is half of the front. Now I will be inserting the bust pan measurement. So the bust pan measurement I'm using in this tutorial is 7 inches. Divided by 2, I have 3.5 inches. Then I'm taking the measurements from the starting point. So I will insert 3.5 inches all the way down to the hemline. That is the garment length. Now I have the line drawn out. From the center front to this point is a bust pan measurement, which is 3.5 inches. So please take note of this. This is only applied to the style I'm making, just as I said earlier. The type of style you are making for your garments determines on how you draft the pattern. So I'm doing this based on the reference image I'm working with. So after drawing out this line, so what I have from here to here is going to be the distance I will have at the center front. So which means in total, the distance I will have at the center front is going to be 7 inches. So I'll be inserting the measurement I'm using for the pleats. So which I said is going to be 2 inches. Okay, so I will take these 2 inches and measure it downward. Then I will fold it towards the side. So this is the center front. So based on this time, the pleat is facing towards the side. So guys, here is the pleat I will be having on the C&S garment. So this is the center front line I drew. So here is the 3.5 inches point. So from this point, I measured 2 inches forward. Okay, then I drew a straight line downward to the hemline. Then I folded on that 2 inches in order to create the pleat. So here is the first pleat. So I taped this down. So from where the first pleat stops, I took another 2 inches measurement from here forward, which is here. Then on the second 2 inches point, I created the second pleat. So in which I'm having something like this. So guys, here is the pleat I will be having on the garment. So I will tape this down properly. So every measurement I will be taking will start from the center front here. So you can see. So I don't need to add the pleat allowance to the side anymore because I folded it already. So if I did not fold this, you can see the space I have in between. So can you see the space I have in between? So here I have about 10 inches in between if I open it up. So in order to make this more easier to understand, so I'll be folding it like so and I will tape it down. So also this will help me when I'm cutting out the fabric to notch the pleat points. So by the time I'm cutting this, I will open it up, then notch the pleat point. So don't forget, when you are cutting your fabric, you will have to open it up before cutting your fabric. Now I have the pleat on my pattern paper taped down, as you can see. So the next step is to insert the neck measurement. So for the neck width, I will be using 3 inches. 3 inches is a standard measurement, which is this point. So after which I will insert half of the back measurement. So the back measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. Half of 16 is 8. But because this is a C&S garment, I will be adding half of an inch as his. So I will use 8.5 as the back measurement. So which falls here. Now I will insert the neck depth measurements, which I will be using 2.75. So you can use between 2.5 and 3 inches depending on the measurement you have around the neckline. So I'm using 2.75 as a depth. Then on the other side as well, I will insert the same 2.75. And I will make it a straight line. Okay, so on this line I will insert the same 3 inches I have for the neck width. And I will connect the two together, the 2 points, like so. The next step is to get the midpoint of this angle. So I have the same shape on my ruler. So with this I can get the midpoint easily. Then I will square it outward. So this will help me to have a perfect round shape. So from here I will measure 1 inch. 1 inch forward. From the center front I will measure 1 inch inward. Okay, then I will be connecting this together in order to have a straight curve. Okay, so that is for the neckline. So now the next step is to construct the armhole. In constructing the armhole, you can see here I have half of the back measurement. So I will be inserting the same measurement on the chest level. So here is the chest level line. So here I will insert 8.5 inches. Then I will connect it downward from the starting point to the chest level line. So I have it there. Then I will slant the shoulder with 1 inch. So because the shoulder is not on a straight line, so I will be connecting the 1 inch point to the neck width point. So after which I will get the midpoint I have in between the 1 inch point and the chest level. So that is 7.5. So half of 7.5 is 3.75, which is here. Then on this point I will come in by 3/4, 0.75, like so. So if you don't know how to locate all these values on your measuring tape, I have a well-detailed tutorial on how to read the measuring tape for pattern drafting. In this tutorial, I explained into details how you can interpret all the lines, the small lines you have on your measuring tape accurately, how to convert fraction values to decimal and decimal values to fraction. The video has been linked up in the description area below. Okay, so now I have the 3/4 point. Then on the chest level, I will insert 1/4 of the bust circumference measurements. 1/4 of the bust circumference measurements I'm working with is 9.5. So which is here. Then I will be adding ease of half of an inch. So now that I have these 3 points marked out, so this is no more in use. These 3 points 1, point 2, and point 3. So I'll be connecting the 3 points together in order to construct the armhole. Okay, so it is not necessary your curve ruler connects up to this point. Okay, so just make sure you connect from somewhere around here or on this point, anyone, but it's not necessary you connect to this point. Okay, so this is what I have for the armhole. The armhole has been constructed. Now that I have the armhole constructed, the next step is to construct excuse me, The next step is to construct the side seam. In constructing the side seam, I will be inserting the remaining horizontal measurements. So that is the under the bust measurement, the waist measurement, then the hip measurement on the garment length. Okay, so on the bust level, I don't need to insert any measurement because I have the measurement inserted on the chest level. So I will be extending these lines outward. Now I have my lines extended outward. So this is the chest level, the bust level, the empire level, the waist level, then the garment length. So on the empire level, I will be inserting quarter of the under the bust circumference measurement. This is optional. So quarter of the measurement is 8 inches. So now this measurement is optional. If you don't want the bust area to be obvious, you can skip this step. Don't use your under the bust measurement, because the purpose of this measurement is to bring out the bust area properly. So I have it here. I will not add ease to the measurement, so I'm not adding any allowance to the measurement. So on the waist level as well, I will insert quarter of the waist measurement, which is 8.5 inches. So now if you notice on this pattern, I did not insert that allowance. I'm not plotting that on this measurement. So the pleat I have in between the pattern is going to serve as the dart. So that is why I'm not plotting that.